Hi everyone. Today we are going to study the living world. First of all, what is biology? Bios is life. Okay. Logos is study. Together, the study of life is biology. The study of life is biology. The biology is the science of life forms and living processes. The biology is the story of evolution of living organism on Earth. Now, what is a living? Living being takes birth, grow, develops, mature, reproduce, undergoes senescence, and finally dies. What is senescence? The process of growing old. This the process by which a cell ages and permanently stops dividing but does not die. The period from birth to natural death is known as lifespan. The living world is full of amazing diversity of living organism. The diversity of habitats of organism is also very vast and amazing. You know that life is a unique and complex organization of molecules that express itself through chemical reactions, which led to the growth, development, responsiveness, adaptation, and reproduction. The object exhibiting growth, development, responsiveness, and other characteristics of life are designated as living beings. They have their own specific form and structure based on the characteristics. The living objects can be recognized as trees, shrubs, cattle, birds, fungi, and bacteria. However, specific shape, size, structure is also present in many non-living objects such as brick or rock. No single trait of life can distinguish living being from a non-living object. Therefore, a number of traits are examined simultaneous to differentiate living beings. Now, characteristics of living. First, growth, reproduction, then ability to sense and respond to stimuli. We also say this as consciousness or sensibility, then metabolism, then cellular organization, and then emergence. Trick to learn these are is grams, GRAMCE, grams. Now, we are going to study cellular organization. You know that cells groups of cells aggregate to form tissues. Tissues combine to form organs. Organs work together in organ systems to perform specific function in organism. You can see this chain. Okay, now cell. Cell is the structural unit of living organism and also the functional unit of living organism. Now we are going to talk about defining feature. Uh, First, must be present in all living organism without exception. What does defining feature means? Must be present in all living organism without exception and should not be present in non-living. Again repeating, must be presenting in all living organism without exception and should not be present in non-living. So, cellular organization or cellular structure is defining feature of living. I'm going to elaborate more. You must know that cell is the basic unit of life. All living organisms are composed of cells. Some are composed of single cell, are called as unicellular organism, while other like us composed of many cells are called multicellular. Unicellular are capable of independent existence and performing essential functions of life. Anything less than a complete structure of anything less than a complete structure of a cell does not ensure independent living. Hence, cell is the fundamental structural and functional unit of living organism. In this way, the cellular organization is proved to be defining feature of all living organisms. Repeating again, body of all living organisms consists of cell and their products. Hence, the cellular organization of the body is the defining feature of life forms. Now, come to the metabolism. Metabol means change. The sum total of all living, all the chemical reaction, the sum total of all the chemical reaction occurring inside the body of living organism is known as metabolism. I am going to elaborate more. The sum total of all chemical reaction occurring inside the body of living organism, you can also write here, due to the specific interaction amongst different types of molecules within interior of cell is called metabolism. Okay, the sum total of all the chemical reaction occurring in an organism due to the specific interaction amongst different types of molecules within the interior of cells inside the body, is called metabolism. You must know that metabol means change. Metabolism is a defining property of the living beings. All activities of an organism, including growth, movement, development, responsiveness, reproduction, etc., are due to the metabolism. No living object shows metabolism. However, metabolic reaction can be carried out outside the body of an organism in cell-free system. Such reactions are neither living or non-living. Okay. So there are two kinds, uh, two types of metabolism: catabolism and anabolism. Now, in first, anabolism includes all the building up reactions. It is also called constructive metabolism since it involves the synthesis of complex substance from simpler ones, simpler substances. This is also called building up reaction, forming complex substance. For example, amino acids make or made protein. You can also take another example: synthesis of organic compounds from CO2 and water H2O during the photosynthesis, formation of starch from glucose, production of you can see here amino acids, for production of proteins from amino acids, formation of lipids from fatty acids and alcohols. You can see here the energy is stored in this process. Uh, we can write 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O, then chlorophyll, light energy enzymes making C6H12O6 glucose, and then 6 H2O and 6 O2 released. It is the anabolic reaction. Energy here is used up. जोड़ने में energy लगती है. Now in catabolism, you can also say catabolisms, K-A-T-bolism. For trick, katna or cut. The trick to remind you about what is catabolism: cut or katna means breakdown reaction is occurring. Constitutes breakdown reaction. It is also known as destructive. Anabolism is constructive. This is the destructive because it involves breaking of complex substances into simpler ones. The Here the potential energy present in the complex substances is converted into the kinetic energy. The potential energy present in the complex substances is converted into the kinetic energy. Here you can see the protein to the amino acids. Okay. Another example, uh, respiration is an example of catabolism. It releases the energy for performing different body activities, like C6H12O6 plus O2, 6O2, and then enzymes, and then 6 CO2, and we get 6H2O plus energy. Here energy is released. Again, What is the difference in anabolism, catabolism? In anabolism, it is the sum total of building up reaction or constructive process. In catabolism, it is the sum total of breakdown or destructive process. In anabolism, produces complex material from simpler ones. In anabolism, produce sorry, complex material from simpler ones. You can see here. In catabolism, it forms simpler substances from complex ones. Complex substance to the simpler substance. In anabolism, it stores the energy, and in catabolism, it releases the energy. And in anabolism, the kinetic energy is changed to the potential energy. And the reverse, in catabolism potential energy is changed to the kinetic energy. In anabolism is required for growth, maintenance, and storage. In catabolism is required for performing various activities of living beings. Okay. Now, anabolism plus catabolism is called amphibolism. You can say amphibolism refers to the pathway that involves both anabolism and catabolism. Uh, to elaborate, amphibolism refers to the dual metabolic pathways that function both the anabolically and catabolically within the cell. These pathways are critical in cellular metabolism, as they can either construct complex molecules from simpler anabolism or break down complex molecules into simpler ones, catabolism, to release energy. This is not that much important. The important point is this: metabolic reaction can be made to occur outside, uh, for example, in test tube, that is cell-free system. Such reactions are neither living nor living. The isolated in vitro metabolic reaction can, however, be called biological reaction or living reaction, as they involve biochemicals. Again, saying to make you understand it more, the isolated reactions cannot be regarded as living things, but they are definitely living reactions because they are they are similar to the reaction performing in our body. Here we should not forget the fact that the metabolism is the total sum of the chemical reaction performing in our body. It is not the sum of few or more living reactions. Okay, then all organisms are made up of small or big chemicals. These chemicals perform thousands of reactions and form some other chemicals also in the body of living organism. Now, in metabolism present unexceptionally in all living organisms, the metabolism present in unexceptionally in all living organisms and not present in non-living. So yes, metabolism is the defining feature of living. Now, the next point, growth. You know that the growth is irreversible increase in the mass of an individual. Okay, multicellular organism increase its mass by cell division. In plants, the growth continues throughout life, as they have meristematic areas where cell division occur regularly. Here you can see increase in mass of or overall size of tissue or organism or its parts is called growth. Increase in mass of living organism. Here you can see it occurs due to the increase in mass and the size of cell, increase in the number of cells. Growth is the irreversible permanent increase in the size of an organ or its parts or even of an individual cell. And the growth is the result of metabolism, when the synthetic or anabolism is more than that of the destructive process of catabolism. Growth occurs. Yeah, this line is not that much important. uh, Growth in unicellular organism, for example amoeba and bacteria, you can see cell, then the enlargement of the cell, then cell division, then two daughter amoeba. You must know that growth is unicellular. Growth in unicellular organism like amoeba and bacteria involves cellular enlargement and binary fission, leading to the formation of identical daughter cells. They absorb nutrients and perform metabolic activities to build and sustain cellular components. Okay, you can see here for the growth, enlargement, increase in mass, then the cell division occur. Now here the growth and the reproduction are mutually intrinsic or synonyms. Okay, means growth is equals to the reproduction. Here the reproduction is equals to the growth. Growth and reproduction are mutually intrinsic or synonyms. Now in growth in multicellular organism, like growth in multicellular organisms starts with a zygote that divides to form two cells, then four, and continues to form multicellular embryo. The embryo develops into the fetus, then into a juvenile, and eventually an adult. Okay. Then the adult undergoes growth and maturation until it can reproduce, producing an offspring and continuing the cycle. You can see here, and the now the growth and the reproduction are mutually extrinsic. Growth is not equal to the reproduction here in multicellular organism. Okay. Now growth in plants and animals. In plants, they grow throughout the lifespan called unlimited or indefinite. In animals, they grow only up to a certain period called limited or definite growth. Growth is of two types: intrinsic growth or extrinsic growth. Intrinsic, this growth is from the inside of the body of living organism. Extrinsic, the growth is the from the outside, that is accumulation of the material on any body surface. Non-living exhibit this type of growth. After this, you are going to study this. Uh, also the growth is of two types: unlimited or limited growth. Okay, growth which occur continuously throughout the lifespan is called unlimited growth. It occurs in plants, not in animals. The limited growth which occurs only up to a certain age, is called limited growth, which it occurs in animals. However, cell division in certain tissues to replace the lost cells. One more point: in majority of higher plants and animals, growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive events. Okay? Because both the living and the non-living exhibit growth, so it cannot be taken as defining property. Growth from inside, intrinsic growth can be taken as defining property only. Okay, so now growth in living and non-living. In living, for example, protoplasmic substances, you must have heard, are components of uh, living matter like cytoplasm and nucleus. You can see here the cell building up and the protoplasm building. Okay, in living, it shows intrinsic or internal growth. We have discussed right now before this, sorry. And new substances are added within the body. It is unidirectional. In living, it is unidirectional. It is the irreversible growth. Now in no living, you can see, for example, in snow mountain, snow addition of snow, or for example in sand dunes, deposition of sand. In no living, the increase in the mass of the body from outside, for example snow mountain, grow by addition of snow on them, addition of and example sand dunes, increased by deposition of more sand on them. Growth therefore cannot be taken as a defining property of living organism, because uh, you can see, shows external or extrinsic growth. New substances are added on the surface. It is bidirectional and reversible growth. Okay. Now growth unexceptionally present in all living organisms, but it is shown by non-living. So growth is not a defining feature of living. Now reproduction. You know that the reproduction is the formation of new individual of the similar kind. Means that new individual of progeny is called production of new individual of progeny is called reproduction. Uh, Reproduction in case of multicellular organism is production of progeny possessing feature more or less similar to the those of parents. Reproduction in case of unicellular like bacteria, unicellular or algae, amoeba is increase in number of cells. Means unicellular organism, the growth and the reproduction are synonymous or same, as we have covered this thing earlier. Reproduction is not found in any non-living objects. There are living organisms which cannot or do not produce, like means sterile human couples, worker bees. So the reproduction cannot be taken as a defining characteristic of the living organism. The process of producing offspring of same type, it occurs, you can see here the point, it occurs in all living organisms with exceptions. Okay, so it does not occur in, but it does not occur in non-living, but here are exceptions. So reproduction is not defining feature of living. Example, the exception, sorry, mule, male donkey crossbreed with female horse to produce mule, but the mule is sterile, not fertile, can't breed mule with mule, because a mule is the offspring of a male donkey and female horse. Mules are typically sterile due to the differing number of chromosomes uh, from each parent species. Horses have 64 chromosomes, while donkeys have 62, resulting in mules having 63 chromosomes. This odd number of chromosomes generally make it difficult for them to produce viable gametes. We also know that mules are known for the strength, endurance traits inherent from both the parent species. They are often used as working animals, especially in region where terrain is difficult to navigate the vehicles. Another example, worker honeybees, another that is infertile human couple. And then two types of reproduction: asexual and sexual reproduction. You must know that in asexual reproduction is uniparental, where sexual reproduction is biparental, generally biparental. Asexual reproduction, uh, in asexual reproduction is the formation it is the formation of the new individual from specialized or unspecialized parts of single parent without the formation and fusion of gametes. So gamete fusion absent here. In sexual reproduction, fusion of gametes occur. Okay. In asexual reproduction, it occurs by spores. Binary fission. In asexual reproduction, it occurs by spores, binary fission, multiple fission, fragmentation, regeneration. In sexual reproduction, involves the formation of and the fusion of two types of sex cells of or gametes. The fusion product or zygote give rise to an offspring. Here the meiosis occurred. Okay, asexual reproduction typically is not sorry. It is the simpler and faster, and sexual reproduction typically the complex and slower. In asexual reproduction, no role in evolution. In sexual reproduction, there is a role in evolution. Now, common modes of asexual reproduction. For bacteria, amoeba, binary fission. Yeast and hydra, budding. You can see example. Hydra separate new hydra. Okay, cutting out of it. In fragmentation, in filamentous algae, fungi, protein, the common mode of asexual reproduction is fragmentation. By fragmentation, in planaria, by true regeneration, morphophylexis type. Okay, fragmented organism regenerate the lost part of its body and become a new organism. Example, you can see flatworm, planaria. Okay, uh, in for algae and fungi, the sporulation, spore formation. Now the summary for 4 points: cellular structure or cellular organization. It is a defining cellular structure and cellular organization is a defining feature. Metabolism also defining. Growth and reproduction not defining. है ना? Growth not defining. Reproduction is also not defining feature. Now fifth point: consciousness and sensitivity. Sensitivity, it is the ability to sense and perceive external stimuli, physical, chemical, biological, and respond to it. It is not shown by non-living. It is shown by all living beings from bacteria to human. Again repeating, ability to sense the surrounding environment and respond to the environmental stimuli is also it is also called as consciousness. And consciousness is the most obvious and technically complicated feature of all living organisms. Okay, we sense these physical, chemical, and biological stimuli through our sense organ. Plants also sense. Okay, respond to external factors like light, water, temperature, and other organism pollutants. All organisms from prokaryotes to complex eukaryotes show consciousness to the environmental cues. Some common example of consciousness can be seen in organisms like plants perform flowering in a particular season, photoperiodism. Some animals perform breeding in a particular season, only seasonal breeders. And all organisms handle the chemicals entering their bodies. When human is concerned, a very high level of consciousness is found in us because of our very well developed nervous system and supreme level of skill of communication, which is also called self-consciousness. Human is very fast, okay, to respond towards the external stimuli. Even it can think or predict about the possible changes of surrounding. Also, it can prepare itself according to the surrounding situation. Further, human can even change its surrounding situation up to a limit. So this topmost or climax level of consciousness regarded as self-consciousness, which cannot be seen elsewhere. Self-consciousness is the thought to be present only in human. You can see. So it is shown by all living beings from bacteria to human. It is the defining feature of living. Human is the only organism who is aware about himself, known as self-consciousness and awareness. Okay, there is an exception. The brain dead coma patient who is supported by machine which replaces heart, lungs also has consciousness. So it is living, but it does not have self-consciousness. But it does not have self-consciousness because it has lost the coordination of organs of different body parts. Again, repeating, if a patient is lying in coma and supported by machine for various function, self-consciousness and consciousness to uh, external environment are supposed to be absent. Okay, some of the patient never come back to the normal life. They can neither be called living or no living. So most obvious and technical complicated feature of all living organism is consciousness. Now, characters, self cellular structure, it is a defining feature. Metabolism, yes, it is the defining feature. Growth, no, because of extrinsic growth in non-living. Reproduction, no, uh, does not occur in a does not occur in mule, worker bees, infertile human couple. Consciousness, yes, with one exception, as I have told you. Now, last point, emergence. It is not that much important, but still, it is the emergence of properties at higher level of organization due to the interaction in components of lower level of organization. For example, molecules to organelles, protein, lipids, and other molecules uh, interact to form organelles like mitochondria, which perform energy production functions, cells to the tissues, cell of the same types like muscle cell work together to form tissues that have specific functions such as contraction and or movement. Tissue, the organ, different tissues such as muscle, connective tissue, epithelial tissues combine to form organs like heart, which pumps blood, and organs to the organ system. Organs like stomach, intestine, liver work together as part of the digestive system. And also, this one doesn't count in defining feature. It is a different point. Now we are going to cover the rest of the chapter in the another part. Thank you for listening.